This is the big news of the day. The government at the centre is proposing to ban all possible private cryptocurrencies at this point, remember. And with the crypto universe only getting bigger, what we do know, what is the government planning to do at this moment? The government has proposed that they will table the Cryptocurrencies and Regulation of Official Digital Currency Bill 2021 in the upcoming winter session of Parliament. The bill will aim to regulate cryptocurrency in the country and some exceptions to promote the technology and its applications. The bill may also seek to facilitate a framework that creates official digital currency, and that will be issued by the Reserve Bank of India. But this move by the centre comes in the backdrop of some worries that the private cryptocurrency may be used to deceive investors with false claims and could also possibly be used to fund terror activities. Ahead of these sweeping restrictions by the centre, Indian crypto exchanges have witnessed a massive fall in the cryptocurrency's value. So remember, the Prime Minister also has reacted, and with regard to that, what precisely is this crypto universe? Because everyone's been talking about specifically the younger age group here among Indians. They are already investing, but what sort of regulation is the government at the centre really referring to? Is it possible with regard to the digital cryptocurrency that is now globally available and is also being touted perhaps possibly as the big next thing? But India cannot really form policies on crypto in isolation, remember, and what it will have to also consider is how other nations are looking at it. For now, what we do know is that the centre has proposed to ban all private cryptocurrencies, but there will be exceptions as well. But let's go now to the expert who really understands all of this among us, and that is our tech editor, Ayush Alawadi. Ayush, because this time I know that everyone's been talking about cryptocurrency, but for beginners, there is also a lot of confusion and they're not clear on that. So over to you now for this special telecast to help us understand the politics of it and the currency of it.
Absolutely, and there's so much confusion about this. To set some of those ambiguities to rest is what this special show is all about. Before we get to our stellar panel, let us listen to what Prime Minister Modi and RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das had to say about cryptocurrency.
Take cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, for example. It is important that all democratic nations work together on this and ensure it does not end up in wrong hands, which can spoil our youth.
Discussion which is now taking place in the public domain, I think the discussions need there is a need for much deeper discussion. When the central bank says that we have serious concerns from the point of view of macroeconomic and financial stability, there are deeper issues involved. There are far deeper issues involved which form part of this, what I have been saying, macroeconomic and financial stability. I am yet to see serious, well-informed discussion in the public space on these issues. The discussions are that, you know, it's a new technology, we should capitalize on it. And I have said it earlier, this technology is more than 10 years old. The blockchain technology is nothing new. It did not come yesterday. It has been there for 10 years. The technology, I have said this before, the technology can grow and will grow without cryptocurrencies or whatever name you use to describe cryptocurrencies. So at this point, I would only like to say that when the Reserve Bank of India, as the central bank of the country, which is entrusted with the responsibility of maintaining financial stability, when the Reserve Bank, after due internal deliberation, says that there are serious concerns on macroeconomic and financial stability, there are deeper issues which need much deeper discussion, much more well-informed discussion.
All right, just to break this down and to understand what this is all about, it's important to get stakeholders from the crypto universe. We're going to have a stellar panel, and as and when they do join, I will be introducing them. But for now, we have Nishchal Shetty, founder and CEO of WazirX India, and of course, we have Kunal Nandwani, co-founder and CEO, U-Trade Solutions. He's also an author of a fantastic book on the blockchain itself. Nishchal, I'd like to start off by asking you, with all this ambiguity, because we've seen this sort of a flip-flop, even in terms of the reportage when it comes to cryptocurrency. This is the government stand. The next minute we hear that there's going to be a ban. Then there are sources reporting, well, essentially, that this is not going to be an outright ban, but it'll be some form of regulation. The difference between public and private cryptocurrencies, it's all one hazy, confusing sort of puzzle. Could you break it down for us as an exchange, as a platform? How are you viewing these developments?
Look, I think if you look at a top-level view of all of these things that's happening, I think we are in that regulatory process. We are in the whole path to regulation. And I would say that overall, it's a positive development for India, because currently all of the nations around the world, the top nations, are doing exactly this. They're trying to understand this ecosystem. They're trying to find what's the thing to be regulated, what are the things to be prevented, and what's the right way to participate in this technology while ensuring that any of those bad activities that you often hear about as a result of this technology, they're all curtailed and curbed. And I think India is doing the same thing. Now, the solutions that we speak about are the ones that will take longer to come into the picture. It always starts with two extremes, where some say that you should not regulate something really quickly, and some say that you should not allow it at all. But there's always a middle path, and as an industry, we believe the middle path is the right way forward for India. And our opinion is that this is the same conclusion that eventually everyone will come to, which is you ensure proper checks and balances to prevent all of the misuses of the technology, while at the same time you ensure that the good actors and the good players in the ecosystem can participate and grow this whole ecosystem together in the right direction. And now there are so many things that are
just to break that down for our viewers. I mean, of course, this middle path is what everyone in the crypto universe is talking about. But the way the government has worded this, and we know that this is a part of the legislative business in terms of the agenda, there is a title and there's a one-line explanation, very similar to the previous rendition of it. The language hasn't changed much. Is that the reason for this ambiguity? I'll tell you why. Because out there's this discrepancy where if you break it down in simple English, it sounds like blockchain, the enabling technology and its uses, will be considered seriously and perhaps be allowed. And some forms of this, some applications of this technology will be allowed. And we've discussed this on Business Today and India Today before. But also the difference between a public and a private cryptocurrency. Now, I know in the world of crypto, there isn't such a clear distinction between the two. Is the government viewing this clearly as, okay, public cryptocurrency means an RBI mandated, central currency vis-a-vis a private currency, which is Bitcoin and the like, but technically those are also on public networks?
Yeah, see, that's where the confusion is. And if you look at only the payment use case of crypto, and if we are only talking about that, then sure, any crypto that tries to, let's say, compete with the INR should ideally not be allowed in the country at all. And I think that's the direction that many of the nations are also thinking, which is prevent payment use cases. But that does not mean that you prevent the other use cases. For example, there are decentralized applications that have to be built and that are being built. Decentralized social networks people are talking about. You cannot use them without a crypto token to support that particular blockchain. So, we are at that stage where I think we are being polarized only towards the payment use case while ignoring the other use cases of crypto and blockchain. And the talk about separating blockchain and crypto again is incorrect, because you cannot have a public blockchain without crypto. Crypto is the thing that secures the public blockchain network. So I think we are still at that stage of just talking payments. And in payments, I agree that you should back the INR. We have UPI. We have amazing payment rails in the country, and we should discourage payment use cases. But at the same time, we should encourage the other use cases of crypto technology, which is the decentralized applications that are being built around the world today.
Okay, Nishal, hold that thought, and I want to bring in Kunal in a while as well. Of course, we've also been joined by Toby Simon. He's the founder and president, Synergia Foundation, and Avinash Shekhar, co-CEO, ZebPay. Guys, thanks so much for joining us on this special crypto show where we're decoding exactly what's happening in the crypto universe, especially here in India, because the world is watching anxiously in terms of what happens in India. But before we do, my colleague Pooja Shali is answering a few questions related to cryptocurrency, which seem to be plaguing a lot of our minds.
What is cryptocurrency? And if you are confused or if you're a beginner, I have it all answered for you. These are frequently asked questions. What is cryptocurrency? Many would want to know why suddenly being discussed. It is a digital currency that is made of complex codes and is secured by cryptography, which is at this point, we can only say that this is digital. Remember, it's not a physical currency. So what is blockchain then? It is a technology that basically serves as a ledger to record these crypto deals as and when an investor heads into it. Let's take a look at other questions as well. How is then the crypto stored? It is stored in wallets, digital wallets at the crypto exchange or a private wallet. Now, question number 4 would be then, is a possible ban on crypto also a ban on blockchain, which is a technology? The answer is no, because in India, there may be a use of blockchain technology for logistics, BFSI, land records as well. So that is a separate technology, which is blockchain compared to the cryptography. Is this a ban on all crypto as we know it, as people are beginning to invest in cryptocurrency? The answer again is no, because the government may allow you. There will be exceptions to retain the crypto as an asset, but there will be prohibitions. And prohibitions as what? With use for transaction, because the Reserve Bank of India is set to bring its own official digital currency, perhaps not to have these private cryptocurrencies that are currently in the crypto universe. What does this mean for millions of specifically the young age group of Indians who are investing in cryptocurrency? The answer to that is there may be, in some ways, may lead to illegal black market trading in international markets if there is no specific regulation, because really the repercussions are still being understood as this is a developing cryptocurrencies.
Well, thanks so much, Pooja, for really spelling it out for us. And that's the last question that you actually mentioned that I want to take to Kunal Nandwani. Kunal, this whole talk of if it is a ban or some form of regulation of private cryptocurrencies in terms of whatever the government is defining that as, and we'll know that in the next 3 weeks as this bill is tabled in Parliament. But just to understand that piece, what does it mean for India's young investors? I know there's some massive numbers that are actually associated with platforms like Nischal's, and those millions of investors who've put their hard-earned money into it, what does it mean for them? Because at the end of the day, they came in over here with, let's call it a hodl approach, or they were cautiously optimistic like you were. Now that money is on the line, will it also mean, like China, we could see perhaps some sort of black market trading or something like that coming about?
Yeah, interesting. So I think, firstly, the government and the regulators' attempt is to protect the small retail investors, which is what we all want, I guess. I think trying just the fact that number of retail investors in the crypto market is way bigger than the retail investors formed in the stock markets, which have existed and been regulated over decades. I think that says something, that how many people have come in, and probably primarily driven by greed, FOMO, bunch of things, maybe interest in technology and a variety of other reasons. But they've only seen the market go on one side, which has been going up primarily in grand scheme of things for the last year or so. So I think the challenge is that there are some small. So in terms of crypto, whatever its use case, we have 15,000 plus tokens today in the world, or maybe even much more. Do we need as many, whether it's a currency, whether it's being used in Web 3.0, the new internet of the future, or not? There are lots of penny stocks like cryptos who go from 0.00001 cent to suddenly to $1 and then fall back. So I think some people catch the rally, some retail investors, they're happy. Some people catch the fall, they are clearly not happy. So it's become highly speculative and gambling for them. And now this regulation, whatever it is, I hope it becomes ample clear, and there is no gray area left in this, that whatever it means for whichever coins, I think the whole world would appreciate some clarity here, because for the last few years, it's a long overdue regulation. And now, even if it comes without full clarity or full definition of, for example, we were talking about private currency versus the other, we don't know if it's what exactly does that mean. It means different thing to different people. So I think whatever comes should come with the full clarity. And then I'm hoping that whatever the regulation does, they would give ample time for the retail participants to get out of it, or to convert them into the accepted ones, if that is the norm, or to get it regulated, do the appropriate KYCs and all. It should not be a knee-jerk reaction that overnight you're just shutting it down, right? So I hope that's what happens, but we'll wait and see in the next few days and weeks, I guess.
Fair enough. We'll wait and see. Avinash, with a platform like ZebPay and the transactions you guys have been seeing, we saw what happened in the crypto markets. They were quite spooked when this announcement came about and the reports really were revealed. It's recovered to a large extent, but now when you look at it, do you think these are just a few days of perhaps this volatility and then things will stabilize when we get some sort of legislative clarity on it? Or is this something that investors should be worried about, Avinash, especially on your platform? Because I know you've had to issue out a few clarifications on Twitter as well.
Yeah. So I think if you remember, exactly same thing happened in February 2021 when this bill was introduced. I mean, it was listed to be introduced in the parliament, and a similar thing is repeating right now. So my sense is that there is a lot which has changed in last 7-8 months, and the news or the communication which is being sent out from the government is much more positive in terms of regulating crypto. Now, what those regulation, what shape those regulation will take, that obviously we have to look at. But in my opinion, I think there should not be any reason to panic. Basically, there should not be any reason to sell your crypto at a lower than market price, which happened in last 24 hours. Our sense is that government should bring some positive regulation around crypto, which takes care of all the concerns which the government has, mandates KYC, AML policy to be followed by exchanges, so that we take what is positive in crypto, which is the emerging technology, and at the same time we take care of and we address those concerns. For example, someone raised about black market or cash. All those concerns can be resolved with the well thought regulations.
20. Avinash, so, you're talking about, well, the sort of regulation that you're hoping, but that's my question to you, right? In the interim, the investors who were spooked, who didn't hodl, who didn't hold on for dear life to some of their investments over the past 24 hours and sold it at cheaper rates, some of their crypto investments.
Yeah.
The days going forward, it's 3 weeks of a parliament session. And after that, of course, there's a whole long, drawn legislative process to follow. What do investors who are invested in some of your platforms, in Nishchal's platforms, and other ones like CoinDCX, CoinSwitch, we've been seeing advertising all over. Now what happens? What happens in terms of, are you telling them to still weather this storm because you are optimistic? But what if there is a ban? It's still not ruled out that this might just be a ban on private cryptocurrencies.
So there are two parts to this whole discussion. One is regarding whether crypto as an investment someone should hold on or not. That we continue to tell our customers that you need to educate yourself. There are obviously risks involved in the technology, but it's a new emerging technology. Okay, and people should educate yourself, basically themselves, before investing and when they're investing any big amount. So that is one. Second is that even if, let's say, the worst case scenario happens and the government bans crypto, even then what is going to happen is that the government will give enough opportunity and enough avenues for the retail investors to basically dilute or liquidate their holdings. Even if you look at the earlier bill, which was in the public domain, government has given 3 months time. Okay, so as you said, that there is enough time for the retail investor, even if a complete ban comes, to liquidate their holdings. So they should not be panicking and liquidating at a below market price. Okay. That's what we are trying to communicate to the customer. If you want to sell, you don't panic sell. You sell at when the price when you're not getting like 20% lower price than the market.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, that would require a lot of nuance and a sort of a very discernible view in terms of what the young 18 to 25-year-olds who are investing in crypto would need this awareness. And so please stay tuned to India Today and to Business Today and to our network to really decode what's happening, because we're bringing you live updates throughout. Toby, I want to come to you with this question. I know you've worked on how the internet governance systems work. And that's exactly what cryptocurrency is the basis of. Crypto, blockchain, is trying to change that with Web 3.0. And a lot of us enthusiasts are calling this Web 3.0 coming up. But Web 2.0 was all about the Facebooks and the Googles and this sort of centralized system. And now with this decentralized system, where we're also looking at Mark Zuckerberg talking about a metaverse, are you seeing India taking one step forward and maybe two steps back with such a move?
It's a great question. Let me put it in another way. If you look at Bitcoins, it's basically a perfect anarchist dream of being able to operate and whatever the Bretton Woods conferences had laid down on. So for a state, this is their fear. You have very well articulated the concerns of the private investor, which is fair. But you will perfectly understand that the central bank is to lose the control of money. And it is going to be
All right, Toby, that's interesting. That's interesting you mentioned that, because, you know, we can go on talking about this, but for all our viewers, this is a developing story and a very interesting one at that as well. The next 3 weeks are going to be very eventful. And we know the global community, the crypto universe, will be watching developments from India on India Today with bated breath. For all our guests, thanks so much for joining us, and for everyone tuned in, thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned to India Today.